Hi, this is Schizophrenia Matters. I have schizophrenia. Can I still have fun? Well, the answer to that question is can be problematic. You can still have fun. You can there are five symptoms, negative symptoms of schizophrenia, and one of those is anhedonia, and this is one of those things where you might have to learn how to have fun again after a psychotic event. Things to me feel like a chore. I have to really focus on keeping my house clean. I have to focus on keeping my bathroom clean. I have to focus on keeping my world in kind of an ordered way. But because everything kind of feels like a chore, and I think that's the reason why sometimes people with schizophrenia often neglect taking showers, or people with schizophrenia often neglect cleaning their homes, is that they don't have the same pleasure reward response and responsibility reward response as, say, a normal person. That gets kind of a little bit out of whack. But it's one of those things where I think you can eventually learn how to have fun again, and to cope with the negative symptoms of schizophrenia is to really try to maximize the things that schizophrenia is trying to take away from you. So like, if things aren't as fun, to try to enjoy and to take in, to savor even small things, and to practice gratitude, that you can go for a walk, right? Small things, for me, for that start, you got to walk before you got to crawl before you can walk. So for me, I pace a lot in my room, or in my apartment, instead of taking care of the responsibilities that I know I need to take care of. And so I need, it's a constant struggle for me to continue to work on my chores, to do my dishes, to clean my room, to clean my bathroom, to do these things that maintain my life, And so, when I have to struggle to do just to meet the needs of my life, it becomes harder to imagine having fun, right? Or, conversely, if I can't even do the fun things in my life, how can I do the hard things in my life? The things that I need to take responsibility for. So it all kind of plays into that volition and hedonia, as a way of marking where you're at in your symptoms. So like, the more you are able to have a goal-directed behavior, the more that you are able to have fun, the more that you are able to have the appropriate word choice, are all emblematic of where you are at in your recovery from a psychotic break. So you may be in a residual phase, but you still be able to advance in your abilities, in your cognitive abilities, and that's what you hope to have in recovery. You have the ability, you have the hope that you can claw back these things that psychosis is taking from you, and I think, for me, I'm going to try. It's a practice. For me, it's a reimagining of these things, and practicing savoring food, for example, because now I don't have the same reward type pleasure as I get from food. It's a chore to prepare food, like I don't want to do it, but I still need to eat, and being on a psychotic, I tend to gain weight really quickly. So I need to, it's something that I constantly police, and it feels like a big chore to me. But on the same end, like I am eating healthily, and I am eating enough, and I am still losing weight, which is good, and I'm losing weight and getting in better, attempting to get in better shape because snowboarding season is fast approaching for me. And I got a lift ticket that for the season that allows me to go snowboarding. So I'll be happy once I'm able to go snowboarding and to see if I can still do that and to kind of claw back my motor skills as well as my hedonia. I can have fun again. I am trying to be more expressive in my as I feel like I have been able to do that as I begin to make these videos. I've become more and more expressive, and I've become more and more able to do these videos. I actually really enjoy these videos. As I said, I pace a lot, so the fact that I'm sitting down and doing these videos is really great for me. It's the practice of actually, of overcoming my symptoms and sitting down and doing these videos, and sociality, So I'm really attempting to reach out and to form a community with these videos, and I'm more than willing to answer questions and comments in the comment sections. You are free to answer, free to ask questions. In fact, you're free to comment if you have schizophrenia and you need to just let some stuff out. Go ahead, like I hear you, sometimes you really need that. Just like I really need to have some fun these days, and I feel like as you get older, your definition of fun changes as well. Like I'm obviously not in the same shape that I was in when I was 15, and so I have I have more monitored expectations. I'm not going to be doing like, crazy backflips or anything like that on my snowboard. I'm just, just go down there and make smooth turns and make laps and stuff like that, on the groomers, which is nice, a nice even terrain. And so, as I get further and further away from my psychotic episode, I'm finding it easier and easier to overcome these issues. I'm getting a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger and a little bit more confident in myself. I'm able to go out to the grocery store, and like I should be looking for a job within the year. Like I really want to be able to maintain myself, and I've had so much problems with work, and including people in my delusions at work, and that I really want to make sure that that I'm really clear-headed and able to maintain a sense of clear-mindedness in regards to working with people. So when it comes down to having fun again, I think it's entirely possible. I think it's even on medication where you can still go to you can still do cosplay, you can still do any type of thing. It's Halloween, so like right now, so you can have fun doing Halloween costumes and going out and that sort of thing. I would be cautious about being easily spooked if you have schizophrenia. Like I have, like I do have a little jumpiness to me, and things popping out. It's I would say that you really, if you've been through some psychotic episodes, you don't really want stuff popping out at you. The anxiety is pretty high, for me, I can barely watch a TV show if the anxiety gets too high. I'm serious. For me, I used to play video games, and I used to watch, movies and stuff like that, and I would have, a little bit more ability to be more conscious through that. But these days, I've been through so much. I think I'm a little bit cognitive. That's where another source of my cognitive impairment is, and so I'm trying to, force myself to sit down and watch a television show, and I'm trying to sit down and do these interviews, so I'm not pacing all day. And if I do find myself pacing, I go for a walk, right? And I try to actually, go somewhere while I'm walking, and that seems to really help. It seems to really, really help. And getting outside and getting fresh air, it does wonders for you. Nature is healing. I do happen to live in a place where there's parks, and I can walk through parks pretty easily. Within the mile of my neighborhood, I'm walking through another. I'll usually go on, like in between like 1 to 2 mile walks, and sometimes just down city blocks, and straight back, and I live in like a more suburban area. There's more, it's more neighborhoods and stuff like that, but it's still heavily trafficked. So it is nice to kind of, be out in the world. And the more that I'm out in the world, the more that I have control, the more confidence that I build. I think that's really the key in recovery, is having more and more confidence and being more comfortable in public, and being more comfortable and talking with people. I do believe that that I have a long way to go. I'm under no delusion to say that I'm doing it perfect, because I really am not. Like making these videos are really my first steps into doing something public, and I'm doing it very public. I'm jumping feet first, but this is a way for me to do something from my house and be a little bit in public, and build a community, at least online. Again, if you have any input, or if you have any suggestions, or if you have any type of, please leave them in the comments. I'm open. If you have any questions, please go ahead. I am, please do not leave anything that, would, that's offensive or anything like that, but, you're welcome to leave valid questions, and I'll try to answer them. I do think this is fun, this type of thing, so fun is possible for me, and so I'm going to continue to strengthen that. I hope you have a good day. If you have schizophrenia, I hope you do find some comfort. Thank you.